Well, good morning to you, and thank you for joining me this morning on this Monday as we come back to Exodus and spend some time in the truth. The instructions for the temple or the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, have been flowing from God to Moses as we've been looking at the previous few chapters here in Exodus. We've seen God's instructions for building the holy place and the Holy of Holies, the furniture that's to go inside, the Ark of the Covenant, the table of showbread, the lamp stand, all of that being part of this holy place and the Holy of Holies. We've seen the fence or the curtain for the outside of the courtyard described with its size and all its bits and pieces. The brazen altar has been prescribed by God, its size and its construction. The setting aside of Aaron and his sons as priests before God, establishing the Levitical priesthood, has also been prescribed. The service that they will perform, the ceremony that they will go through in order to be set apart by God as a holy priesthood to serve him and to minister to the people. And so today we come to Exodus chapter 30, where we'll find another description of a piece of furniture, an altar, that God will prescribe for his people to put into the holy place, just outside of the curtain that leads into the Holy of Holies, will be what is understood to be called the altar of incense, which is what God is going to describe here in Exodus chapter 30, verses 1 through 10. So, going on, verse 1 says, "You shall make an altar on which to burn incense. You shall make it of acacia wood. A cubit shall be its length, a cubit shall be its breadth. It shall be square, and 2 cubits shall be its height. Its horns shall be of one piece with it. You shall overlay it with pure gold, its top and around its sides, and its horns. And you shall make a molding of gold around it, and you shall make 2 golden rings for it under its molding on 2 opposite sides of it. You shall make them, and they shall be holders for the poles with which to carry it. You shall make the poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. And you shall put it in front of the veil that is above the ark of the testimony, in front of the mercy seat that is above the testimony, where I will meet with you." So God defines for Moses the size of this altar of incense. It's a cubit wide, a cubit deep. So it's 18 inches by 18 inches. It's a square box made of acacia wood. It'll be 2 cubits high, so 36 inches high will be the height of the altar of incense. The entire thing, again, all of the furniture that is in the holy place, in the Holy of Holies, the brazen altar, all of these things have been formed or built structurally with acacia wood and then overlaid, in this case, with gold, as is everything else that is in the holy place and the Holy of Holies. The brazen altar, of course, was encased in bronze. But now again, we're back into the holy place. And so the altar of incense will be encased in gold. On the corners of each of the corners of the altar of incense, there will be a horn that comes off of each of the 4 corners, as the same with the brazen altar. It had these 4 horns where the blood of the sacrifice was occasionally, based on God's prescription for the kind of sacrifice that it was, blood would be placed on those horns. The same will be true with the altar of incense. And we'll see that coming up as the narrative continues here. But we're seeing this golden altar, 36 inches high, 18 inches square, described by God, all overlaid with gold. As with the Ark of the Covenant, the table of showbread, it's also going to have 4 gold rings, one on each corner of the incense altar, through which they will make poles also of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. The poles will be put through the rings. That way the altar of incense can be carried as God moves his people toward the promised land, toward a place of being established again before him in the land that he promised them. They will need to carry this piece of furniture from the holy place, as well as the other pieces of furniture, the Ark of the Covenant and the table of showbread. They will all need to be borne on the shoulders of the Levites to be moved from place to place as God moves his people through this journey toward the promised land. And so, as with the other pieces of furniture, there are 4 rings that are mounted onto the corners of the altar of incense, and the poles would be put through, and that's the means through which they would be transported from one place to another as God moved his people. And so, moving on, verse 5, you shall make the poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. You shall put it in front of the veil that is above the ark of the testimony, in front of the mercy seat that is above the testimony, where I will meet with you. So the Holy of Holies would be the place where the Ark of the Covenant would be housed. It is separated from the holy place by the prescribed curtain that God had instructed Moses to make. Through that curtain once a year, Aaron would pass to make atonement for the people on the mercy seat. As he's making his journey past the altar of incense, he would stop at the altar of incense and he would take blood from that sin offering, which is going to come up in the narrative here in a second, and put blood on each of the 4 horns of the altar of incense before venturing into the Holy of Holies in order to sprinkle blood on the mercy seat to make atonement for the people. So the altar of incense has a specific purpose, and we're let's just read on, because I'm going to get ahead of myself. Is what's not unusual for me at all, but I do. Verse 7, Aaron shall burn fragrant incense on it every morning. When he dresses the lamps, he shall burn it. And when Aaron sets up the lamps at twilight. So twice a day, first thing in the morning, as Aaron goes into the holy place to dress the lamp for the day, he would then go to the altar of incense, and there he would burn a prescribed mixture of spices to be burned before the Lord. It is a prescribed mixture of incense. It's not just whatever Aaron decides he wants to throw on there and burn. Well, today I think I want to smell this or that or the other thing. Nope. God's going to give specific instructions when we get down to verses 32 through 38, or 34 through 38, God is going to give specific instructions as to what is going to be in that mixture of incense that is to be burned on the altar. It's going to be by God's prescription, not based on Moses' feelings. It's not, or Aaron's feelings, or whatever high priest is going to go into that holy place and offer that sacrifice or that incense before the Lord. It's not a sacrifice. It's just a sweet smelling savor to God that he prescribed. And so there's a specific incense that is going to be put on it. So in the morning, when he goes in to dress the lamp, he lights the incense. He burns it. In the evening, when he goes back to dress the lamps again, he's to burn incense on the altar a second time. The end of verse 8, Scripture says a regular incense offering on it before the Lord throughout your generations. So it's going to be a regular function in the priest's activity to go tend the lamp, light the incense in the morning, go back in the evening, tend the lamp, and then light the incense again, going on throughout their generation. So God is prescribing this for them going on forever. Verse 9, you shall not offer unauthorized incense on it, or a burnt offering, or a grain offering. You shall not pour a drink offering on it. So now God makes some prohibitions. You're to take exactly what I'm going to tell you coming up in verses 34 to 38. You're to burn that on this altar, nothing else. This is not a place for any other kind of burnt offering. It's not a place for any kind of grain offering. It's not a place for any kind of drink offering. None of those are to have anything to do with this altar of incense. It is for the prescribed purpose that God has given and nothing else. To do anything else would be to defile that which God has made holy. And that's a problem. And so no unauthorized incense. So you can't make up your own mixture and take it in there and offer it. God will not accept it. It will be rejected by God. It will defile his holiness. So there is a specific prescription. Again, I'm just overwhelmed when I look at how very clearly and specifically God said, you approach me. You approach me these ways. Just causes me to think seriously about what we offer to God in our worship today. Now, yes, I know we're not under the law, we're under grace. So things are maybe different. But still, the reverence for God, the concern for the holiness that is necessary in the presence of God, these things are evident in this precise instruction that's given by God to the people of Israel. And how we flesh that out and realize that God doesn't ask anything different of us today. He doesn't ask our worship to be less holy. He doesn't ask our worship to be disorderly. He doesn't ask our worship to be confusing. Worship should be specific, and it should be focused on the glory of God, not on the emotions of man. And so God is very specific. Verse 10, and Aaron shall make atonement on its horns once a year. With the blood of the sin offering of atonement, he shall make atonement for it once a year throughout your generations. It is most holy to the Lord. So again, this once a year, the sin offering is going to be made for the people. The priest is going to go actually through the holy place. On his way to the Holy of Holies, he will stop by the altar of incense. He will take the blood from the sin offering and he will put it on the horns of the altar of incense. And then he will proceed into the Holy of Holies. and there put the blood of the sin offering for atonement for the people onto the mercy seat as a covering for the people's sin, to take away the guilt of sin. And so God's prescription, very clear. He didn't leave any room, any wiggle room. He didn't say to Aaron, do whatever you want. I'll take whatever you offer me. Nope. He was very specific. I don't know that that's really changed a whole lot. I read an article once by a fellow who wrote it and said that God is infinite, and therefore there are infinite ways to worship him. Well, that's not what Scripture identifies as far as I'm concerned. Scripture identifies a God who is orderly, a God who is holy, a God who is righteous, a God who is just, and a God who wants our worship to be pleasing to him, not pleasing to us. Well, how do we know it's pleasing to him? Well, we know by learning about him. We know by studying his word. We know by being sensitive to the Spirit. We know by making sure that our offering is not one that is there to please us, but our goal and purpose ultimately in all of it is to please him, giving to him that which he deserves. Worship is a complex thing. And it's just amazing to me how precise what God is in the Old Testament to describe it. And it makes me wonder about our worship today. What should it look like? It's a conundrum, something we have to struggle with. But by God's grace, we'll find what pleases him, and our offerings will be acceptable. Well, thanks for taking time in the truth with me today. I'll look forward to seeing you on Wednesday as we come back and take a little more journey through the book of Exodus. Have a great day. Trust in the Lord and walk with him. And I'll look forward to seeing you then.